right, welcome to June and to foam rolling fun. Just a reminder, there's no class next week, before I forget to say that again. So we'll be doing foam roll this week, nothing next week, and then foam roll the last 2 weeks. And we're also going to do a little bit of therapy ball work today. And I forgot I'll need a block for that as well. And so there's lots of different foam rolls out there. This is like your basic foam roll. It's white, it's foamy, it's squeezy. It's probably the least, well, I guess sometimes you can find the blue ones that are kind of foamy. Those are a little softer than this one. And then there's various different colors that usually get harder as you go along. So it's blue, white, and then I think black gets worse. This is like an insane one. Let me bring this up. So you can see it's got nubbies on it. So it does trigger point therapy at the same time. So if you really want to get crazy, you can get one of these. And these are pretty hard, so they're rough. Foam rolls come in different heights. This is actually half of a foam roll, like cut a foam roll in half. So it was normally this long. So I'm gonna do some chest opening to start with the foam roll. If you've got a short foam roll like this, you use a foam roll and a block. If you don't have a foam roll, then you're just gonna use your blocks. If you got the long foam roll, then you got everything you need right there and then. So we are going to start with the chest opener because this is one of my favorite chest openers. So the way I will set this up, because I have a short foam roll, is foam roll, block. Okay. Now, if you only have blocks, then you're either going to line up 3 or 4 blocks, or if you only have 2 blocks, that is still a possibility. You'll just have to play with it. Grab my other block. So that you make sure you're supported. And essentially you want to be supported right in the pelvis. And then kind of like between the shoulder blades, and then it just comes onto my occiput so that my head is supported. And then you're going to kind of make cactus arms and lie back. So if you've got the foam roll, you're lining everything up like that, having a seat on the foam roll, and then making sure your head is supported with the block. Actually going to use 2 blocks to be real fancy. And it's the same thing. Cactus arms, drop them out. So everybody's body is unhappy in a different way. So cactus arms might be something that is way, 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 way too much for you. Maybe you just need to drop the arms out like this. Or it might not be enough. So you've got essentially 180 degrees on each side of your body to play with and figure out where you get a good stretch. And then you bend your elbow, rotate your arms around. Like, don't even, brain's not working. Don't write off the idea of internal rotation being useful to you. So it might be that you need to internally rotate and move your arms in different places, or fully externally rotate, somewhere in between. So like internal rotation in cactus arms, so downward facing, sad cactus, downward facing cactus, can be an amazing chest and shoulder opener, and anywhere in between. So we're just going to start off passive in this really lovely chest and shoulder opener, whatever it looks like for you. And after you are here for a minute, you might find that you can go a little deeper or you need to adjust. Just check that out. And if you want to start adding some core work in, you will make sure that your pelvis is neutral. So meaning it's not tipped forward, it's not tipped way back. So we find a neutral pelvis. Feet are hip width apart. You drag your belly down into the foam roll and then try to pick up one foot and set it down, the other foot and set it down. So little mini marches. It's really freaking hard. The wider you take your feet, the more stable you will be. I like to do it while I am stretching my upper body because it takes my brain away from feeling like my arms are getting ripped off my torso. I'm like, oh, look, something else is hard. Just ignore the pain behind the curtain. So if you're on blocks, it's going to be a little easier because it's not going to roll away from you like the foam roll wants to. Whew. So we're gonna just, if you're on a foam roll, this is a super easy move. You just roll off to the side. If you're on the blocks, it's gonna be a little bit more complicated. It might just be easier to pick up your hips, pull the block out, set it down, and then pick up your head, pull the block out, set it down. And we're gonna set the foam roll off to the side just for a moment while we work on our forearms. And you might need a block for this. Everybody's different as to how it feels, works in your body. Just grab a ball. And we're going to start off on the top of the arm. So if you just put your hand down in front of you and you look down your arm, you'll see kind of the inner elbow and then a big mound of tissue to the outside of that, below it, okay? And if you follow that tissue down, you'll kind of cross over the midline of the body of the forearm and come into the medial aspect of the forearm. So we're going to start at the top and then we're going to work down right into the middle. So we're still on that same muscle. We're right in the middle. And then we're going to stay in the middle and come down one more below that. So we're only doing 3 spots on the top of the arm. So we're looking at that. We find the inner elbow. We go to the outside. We find the top of that mound. We put the ball there. And this is where we become little contortionists. So for some of us, we're just going to be able to essentially lie down and place the other hand. So we have a little forearm sandwich. on the floor. That might not be available for your body. So you might find that being up on your knees and coming down on the edge of a block, it's going to be a little bit less stable, but you can always pinch the block with your knees. And it doesn't take a lot of pressure here. It's pretty tender on everybody. If you've ever been on my massage table and I put my thumb in there, you know it. It's sore on everybody because we do this and we do this. So make that little sandwich. And for me, I also have massage therapist arms, so it hurts like hell. If you're finding you have nice relaxed forearms, you need a pillow. You have nice relaxed forearms and you don't really feel anything just from the weight of the hand on top, then you can start wiggling the fingers, making a fist and opening, or making a fist and doing little circles. So choose your own adventure here. I am going to choose to just lie here. Whew. And it's normal to feel this discomfort radiate up the arm or down the arm because there's a bunch of nerves that are all wrapped up in this tissue that get really pressurized. So for me, just this little bit of weight, I feel this all the way up in the top of my shoulder, kind of right above the shoulder blade, the spine of the shoulder blade, and a little bit up into my neck. And that's a good thing. That means that I am opening up that nerve line, creating more relief for my body. So again, your options, if you are moving the hand, are wiggle the fingers, open the hand, make a fist, open the hand, make a fist, or make a fist and roll it around. Now, just so that you know, you can do this on the foam roll, same thing. It's just, I find it to not be as good of not as painful, what I'm trying to say. But it is possible. It's much more comfortable. So we've just done kind of that outer upper area. So now we're going to stay on that muscle that goes diagonally across, and we're just going to follow it down and across until we get to the middle. So we're right in line with our middle finger. Okay. Place the ball there, and we do the same thing. Now I find that this area typically anytime you're getting closer to a joint, things get more tender because we're dealing with tendons and ligaments and really bound up, upset fascia. And then also the very center, the belly of the muscle tends to be a little grumpy as well. So as we move away from that, you're going to get less sensation. You're going to need to get more active. So putting more pressure with that top hand, wiggling, opening and closing, making circles, whatever really works for you. And know that if this is like, I can't twist myself into these crazy positions, you can always, it's going to be hard to see from this angle, but you can always put the ball into the wall. And I'm essentially, if you are my wall, or I'm up against glass, I'm essentially doing this, and I'm pushing my hip and my torso in and leaning into the wall. And that's another option that you can do. And it's amazing how just moving down the muscle a little bit changes the nerve feeling. So I don't get this in my shoulder at all anymore. Now it's all in my elbow on the opposite side of the arm. So it's really interesting. Here you can also just shift forwards and backwards. So I'm rolling across that tissue. And that usually hurts pretty good. Little wiggle. Good. And then we're going to continue just like one ball width down. We're staying right in the center. And then resting on top of that. And this one, I like to use my forearm, and then I end up getting a massage on both sides as I make a fist and lift up and down. So flex and extend. The ball is pressing on the back side of the forearm, and my other forearm is pressing on the inside of the forearm. And I'm getting a really good massage on each side. And then releasing, give it a little shake. The easiest way to get this in our arm is to take the ball in your opposite hand, brace your arm against your leg, and you're gonna just kind of how we did with the therapy balls with the feet, how we like twisted, we pushed into it and twisted. You're gonna do the same thing, but just using the ball in your hand. So we go right in the center. We just kind of worked down here towards the wrist. So now we're gonna go right in the center of the belly. And we're gonna just push the ball in and twist, release, push the ball in, twist in the opposite direction and release. And it's not a huge twist. I mean, it's just a centimeter or two, just enough to really rotate and move that surface fascia. And then just move up, not in the crease of the elbow, but just below the crease of the elbow. And be gentle here. There's lots of veins, so we don't want to, be like trying to push through our arm. We're really just working that top layer of fascia, opening it up. Getting the skin nice and pink, increasing blood flow. Right, and release. Now we're going to do the hand. So find your thumb, your pointer finger, this webbing in between here. I like to come up on my knees because then I can kind of move myself around. I'm going to place the ball right there. So as I look through, I can just see the top round edge of the ball sticking up between my thumb and my pointer finger above that webbing. And then I'm going to straight arm, so I stack my bones, bring it right in under my shoulder, put my other hand on top, and then relax the bottom hand over the ball. So again, it's like a little hand sandwich, and I just move slightly side to side. I'm spreading apart the bones of the thumb and the bones of that pointer finger, okay? I'm kind of wedging that ball between and rotating. Creating more space, and the heel of my other hand is right on top of that webbing, right on top of the ball. And you can play with this, move the ball back towards the heel of the hand where the base of the thumb is near the wrist, but still on the heel of the hand. That'll probably be really tender. And then you can kind of roll it along the bone of the thumb out towards where the base of the actual thumb comes out of the hand and back. And then you can do the same thing right along the line of that pointer finger. Okay, so we're working all this web back and forth, and then we're scraping along the inside of the thumb and palm and the inside of the pointer finger in that webbing. There's a lot that can be done here. We could spend a lot of time just in this little triangle, because God knows this is a tight part in most people's hands. And if you suffer from chronic migraines, there's a pressure point in here. So if you get a headache, you can always roll your hands in this particular place. Will really help ease it. And also rolling the feet. Rolling the feet, putting your feet in hot water will help with headaches, because it's about bringing the blood out of the head. And then just take a second, palm on top of palm, as if you were going to be doing chest compressions for CPR. You can take some of your weight out of the hand and just roll that ball around the whole palm of the hand. So I love to go along the heel of the hand, because that's always gnarly. And then I trace up in between the pinky and the ring, and I come back down, and up between the ring in the middle and back down, and then up between the pointer and the middle and back down. And I'm relaxing that bottom hand. And if you find a really good spot, you can stop there and then tense up that bottom hand. So pull the fingers up and then release it back down. But I find it's helpful to just have the hand relaxed, the bottom hand relaxed for the most part, until you find those juicy spots. And for me, because of the work I do, I like to get it right in between, like on the ball of the palm. I get right in between the fingers, that soft squishy spot, and then I put the heel of that hand right on top in between. Maybe even rotate towards the pinky so I really get the side of the hand. And then it doesn't take much pressure, and I can just kind of pull my fingers apart, the bottom hand, move those fingers apart, and that is amazing. And it doesn't take much pressure. And if you're finding that it's hard to be down in that position, you can always bring it up using a block, or you can do this on a table, desk. Do this at your desk while you're working. I just finished a massage, so this is like amazing. My hands are so happy. Good. And then I like to just go and try to crack my fingers after this because it feels amazing. Stretch the palms. Ugh. Every time I do hand work, I go, why don't I do more hand work? All right, switch balls. We'll switch sides. So we're coming back into the other arm and the top. So again, as we press our arm out in front of us, we can see that inner crease. And the outside of that inner crease, there's a mound of tissue that comes down and diagonal towards the inside. So we're finding the top of that mound, we're placing the ball there, we're turning into contortionists, and then making a little forearm sandwich. And is using the weight of the top hand to create pressure, create that little massage. And then again, you can wiggle the hands, you can open the fingers and then make a fist. You can make a fist and then move the wrist through flexion and extension. Oh, or you can roll it in a circle. Whew. Or you can do nothing because it hurts enough. And then you're going to follow that muscle down and across until you hit the midline, in line with your middle finger. Place the ball there. Contort once again. And you can use the wall for these, don't forget. And once again, you can hang out with that pressure. You can wiggle the fingers. You can open and close the palm. You can make a fist and go through flexion and extension or rotate it in circles. You're rotating in circles, just make sure you go both directions. And then we're going to just roll one ball length straight down in the center. Same thing. And I like to put the forearm on there. And then take it through range of motion, flexion and extension, and then getting both sides. And then for the other side of the arm, we rest it. We work just above where we were working with our forearms, probably red, easy to find, and we're just doing the twisting. So we twist, push and twist in one direction, push and twist in the other. And this isn't really going to be that painful. It's more of just a nice massage. This is the nice portion of class today. Just opening up that fascia, getting more blood flow. Move up to the top part of the arm, not quite in the inner elbow. And then we're going to move it into the hand. So again, we're looking for that webbing between the pointer finger and the thumb. We put the ball right in there so that as I look forward between the pointer finger and the thumb, I can see the top edge of the ball. Stack the bones. Hand on top of the webbing, so top hand on top of your webbing. Relax the bottom hand. And maybe just straight down pressure is enough. Maybe you need to open the bottom fingers and then drop them. So extend and then relax. Maybe you need to rock a little bit side to side to open up between those two fingers. Maybe you need to just rock around a little bit. And then start to work your way down towards the heel of the hand. And then we're going to work that V all along the inside edge of that V. So along the inside of the thumb bone, all the way to the heel of the hand, and then up along the inside of the pointer finger, back down and around. You find juicy spot, stop, and let's extend the fingers. And then start to work your way through the rest of the hand. So striping up and down between each of the fingers, working your way along the heel of the hand. Get between the fingers, right up where the fingers come into the hands, right on the soft, cushy side of the knuckles, essentially. And work in there. Found it. And then stretch out the hands, maybe try to crack the fingers. Take it all out. All right. Moving on to the calves. Now, you can use therapy ball for this. We did this in class last week. I think we spent like the whole class probably on calves. But today we're going to do the foam roller version. And I have been doing this either my hamstrings, my calves, or my quads daily while reading in the morning. And I'll do like an hour and a half of just one muscle group because I'm reading and I'm not paying attention to how painful it is. So I'm finding it a great practice. It's really changing the way I'm able to inhabit my body as I go through my workday. Highly suggest it. So whether you're using a block or a foam roller, we're gonna put the object in the same place. So we start at the bottom of the leg. How I do this in the morning is I literally just prop myself up against my bed on the floor and sit here and read. And what I do, I just flex and point. I'm gonna try to really watch the time on this. So ideally we're gonna spend about 9 minutes on each calf. I'm probably spending 45 minutes on each calf in the morning. And there's plenty to do. So flexing and pointing is one option. Kind of rotating side to side. So I internally rotate, and I'm rotating from my hip socket, inside and outside. And if I find a real tender spot, because as you do this more, like everything in the beginning, it's like just general hell. And then you find the little areas. So for me, it's like internally rotate, and then I'll sit here and point and flex again. So when I first started doing my calves, I felt like I got nowhere in an hour and a half. And now I probably don't need to spend an hour and a half. I'm just enjoying my book, in all honesty. So it changes very quickly. And if you did the therapy ball class last week that was all calves, you probably are noticing that today is less horrid than last week. And then you're going to start in with circles so you can find a really tender spot, or if everything's tender, you just stay in the middle and make big circles. And then you go the opposite direction. And you'll find that your shins will get tired when you do this, and that's fine. We're doing all of this joint mobility and working the tissue moving into the joint. So you're probably going to get your ankles to crack, which is always very exciting. At the end, it's like I'll do both legs and I won't crack in between because I want that like joy of synchronized cracking when my ankle joints and my talus just release, and it's one of my favorite things. It feels so damn good. All right, so now we just roll that foam roll up just a smidge. We start the whole process again. Now, if you want more pressure, plop that other leg on top. And that will add a whole other dimension to this exercise. I would say on the level of intensity, soft foam roll is least intense. Hard foam roll would be middle intense. Therapy ball is most intense. The only thing with therapy ball is you can't really roll across. It's a little more labor intensive. You got to move it around. But by the time you get to like daily foam rolling of your calf or therapy balling of your calves, you'll know the areas that you really need to focus on, and it'll be very quick and efficient. So I always say when you're starting a therapy ball or foam rolling lifestyle, in the beginning, if you just do one muscle group a day, and as your body opens, you're going to know your hot spots. Those hot spots are going to stay hot. And then you're going to be able to do your whole body in the time that it takes you to, when you start, do one muscle group. All right, roll up a little bit. So if you've got one of these nubby foam rolls, they change. I'm staying on there's like different sections of it that do different things. I'm staying on the trigger point. So it's kind of like a therapy ball with a foam roll with mini therapy balls on it. Again, you're just kind of moving around, looking for areas of tenderness. And when you find them, going into flexion, extension, rotation. And in some areas, flexion and extension will feel really good. In some areas, rotation will feel really good. In some areas, all of it will feel really good. It just takes getting to know your body. And roll up. And then we'll do just one more position. So we're not in the back of the knee. We're just past, like down past the back of the knee, right where the calf muscles start to plume out away from the leg. I find that it's nice to go side to side here because it's such a broad spot on the body on that particular muscle group. And it's like so many different textures as I roll side to side. So you find a texture that's kind of tough, and then you move into range of motion. And then you find another texture that's tough. And then we will switch sides. So again, we start down the Achilles. You can go without any weight or add weight. If you don't feel anything in the center, internally, externally rotate so that you get the medial tissue and the lateral tissue. You'll find something, I guarantee it. And then move up just a bit. And start the whole process again. then pick it up. Move. Look for a tender spot. And then we'll move. And the last position, right up at the top of that calf muscle where it plumes out of the back of the knee. And this one, like I said, is really nice to rock side to side. You'll just feel a whole different landscape as you move across that tissue. So find something kind of rough and work in there to start. All right, are you guys ready for it? The magical cracking. I really hope you all get to enjoy this as much as I do. Anya, I think your high heel feet will enjoy this thoroughly. So you're just gonna come around onto all fours. Knees together, feet together. Sit back on your heels and then keep going. Lift the knees up. Oh, so good. Oh my God, that's all I need in life. I'm a very easy person to please, evidently. Oh, beautiful. Now, you can just take a little mini Shavasana. I would suggest, after the decadence of that ankle crack, if you got it, do it. Legs up the wall, legs up the desk, legs up the bed, whatever you got. Just take a minute or two here. And if you don't have anything to put the legs up, put the foam roll behind your knees and lie on your back. And that will also be nice and juicy for Shavasana. Oh. And if this feels amazing and you want to stay here, you are more than welcome to stay as long as you desire. But I need to get on with my day, so I am going to pull my legs down the wall, gently roll to one side, and make my way up to seated. Thanks for playing with me today. Again, no class next week, but I'll see you in 2 weeks. And I think what we're gonna do is just work up the chain, unless somebody has something that like it's screaming at them. When we jump into class, we're just gonna work up the body and divide and conquer. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Namaste.